You're sabotaging your own money without even knowing it. You're probably doing at least 3 hidden things that are silently destroying your financial future. I'm not talking about obvious stuff like buying expensive coffee. I'm talking about the hidden psychological patterns that make smart people make dumb money choices. These aren't character flaws, they're predictable responses to emotions you might not even realize you're feeling. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal 2 hidden emotions that are costing you thousands, and the exact questions to catch yourself before you spend. If you've ever wondered why your money seems to disappear despite your best intentions, type "I'm guilty" in the comments. This video will show you exactly what's happening and how to stop it. Let's start with the first hidden emotion that's costing you money. Most people think they spend money logically. They believe their purchases make sense, but there's a hidden emotion driving your worst financial decisions. You probably don't even realize you're feeling it. That emotion is anger, not the obvious kind where you slam doors or yell at traffic. This is quiet anger that sits in your chest. It builds up from small disappointments and bigger betrayals. Your boss takes credit for your work. Your parents still treat you like a kid. Your partner doesn't appreciate what you do. These feelings don't just disappear when you leave work or hang up the phone. Think of it like this. Anger is energy that needs somewhere to go. When you can't express it directly, it finds other ways out. One of those ways is through your wallet. You spend money to feel better, to prove something, or to get back at the world in some small way. Research shows that about 70% of Americans report impulse or emotional spending, and anger is one of the biggest triggers. Here's what that really means in your daily life. After a rough day, you buy one thing, and walk out with 100 feds in impulse buys that give you a fleeting sense of control. Or maybe you grew up with parents who were super strict about money. Every purchase was questioned. Every dollar was scrutinized. Now you're an adult, and you spend carelessly just because you can. This pattern is common. People raised with restrictive parents often swing to overspending later as a form of rebellion. You're not buying things, you're buying freedom from their voice in your head. But that freedom is costing you your future. Research shows that suppressed emotions create predictable patterns. When we can't deal with feelings directly, they show up in our behavior. Money becomes the battlefield where we fight wars that have nothing to do with money. You might think you're treating yourself, but you're actually punishing yourself financially. The cycle works like this. Something makes you feel powerless or angry. You spend money to feel better. The temporary relief feels good, so your brain remembers this solution. Next time you feel that way, you reach for your wallet again. Before you know it, you're stuck in a pattern you can't break because you're fighting the wrong battle. Most people who struggle with emotional spending don't realize they're angry. They think they're being spontaneous or treating themselves. But if you track your spending alongside your emotions, you'll see the connection. The biggest purchases often happen after the worst days. Here's the tricky part. Spending does give you real power, but only for a moment. You walk into a store feeling small, and you walk out feeling like you matter. The cashier smiles at you. You have bags full of new things. For a few minutes, you feel important and in control. But this feeling is borrowed power that you have to pay back with interest. The real problem is that this pattern makes you more dependent, not less. Every time you use spending to feel better, you're training your brain to need external things for internal peace. You're also draining the money you could use to build actual independence and security. But recognizing that impulse comes from anger is only half the battle. Here's how to turn it into action that builds wealth instead of draining it. Once you identify your hidden anger triggers, you can catch yourself before you spend. Ask yourself what you're really feeling. Are you buying this because you need it, or because you're trying to feel better about something else? This simple question can save you thousands of dollars. But anger isn't the only emotion sabotaging your money. There's another feeling that's even more dangerous because it strikes right when you're about to succeed. This fear shows up just when you're making progress toward your goals. Ever wondered why that promotion feels more stressful than exciting? You work hard to get ahead financially. You save money, you get a raise, you find new opportunities. But then something weird happens. Right when things start improving, you find ways to mess it up. You spend the money you saved. You avoid the investment opportunity. You make excuses to stay exactly where you are. This isn't laziness or lack of willpower. It's fear of financial success. Your brain is actually protecting you from something it thinks is dangerous. Success feels scary, so you sabotage yourself before you can achieve it. Researchers call this the income ceiling. You unconsciously cap your wealth at a familiar level. Think of it like this. You're climbing a ladder, and every time you get close to the top, you knock yourself back down a few rungs. You don't do it on purpose. Your subconscious mind finds logical-sounding reasons to hold you back. Let's break down how this looks in real life. You get a $200 raise at work. Instead of automating that raise into savings, you spend it, precisely when you're so close to real progress. Maybe you upgrade your car payment or move to a more expensive apartment. Within a few months, you're spending exactly what you make, just like before. Or maybe you avoid learning about investing because it feels too complicated. You tell yourself you don't have time to research stocks or retirement accounts, but really you're scared of what might happen if you actually start building wealth. What if you succeed? What if your life changes? Here's the simple version of what's happening in your brain. Deep down, you have beliefs about money and success that you might not even realize. Maybe you grew up thinking rich people are greedy. Maybe you worry that having money will change your relationships with family and friends. Maybe you don't feel like you deserve to be wealthy. These beliefs create what researchers call an income ceiling. No matter how much you earn, you find ways to stay at the same financial level. You might make more money, but you also spend more money. You might get opportunities, but you don't take them. You keep yourself stuck in a comfort zone that isn't actually comfortable. The tricky part is that your brain makes this feel logical. You don't think you're sabotaging yourself. You think you're being practical or responsible. You tell yourself you're not ready for that promotion, or that investment is too risky, or that you need to spend money on your family first. But here's what's really happening. You're scared of the responsibility that comes with financial success. You're worried about how other people will treat you if you have money. You're afraid of failing after you succeed, which would hurt even more than never trying at all. Some people are scared that success will isolate them from their friends and family. They worry that having money will make them different or unlikable. So they keep themselves poor to stay connected to the people they love. But this strategy backfires because financial stress actually damages relationships more than financial success does. Other people don't feel like they deserve wealth. They think successful people are somehow better or smarter than they are. They can't picture themselves as the type of person who has money, so they make sure they never become that person. This fear creates a cycle that's hard to break. You approach success, you get scared, you sabotage yourself, you feel bad about failing, and then you promise to try harder next time. But unless you address the fear underneath, you'll keep repeating this pattern. If this sounds like you, pause and think. What's really holding you back from saying hell yes to success? The good news is that recognizing this pattern is the first step to breaking it. When you understand that your financial problems might be caused by fear of success rather than inability to succeed, you can start to address the real issue. But understanding these patterns is only the beginning. The real work happens when you take action on what you've discovered. Your financial problems aren't really about money. They're about emotions you haven't acknowledged. Fixing them starts with honest self-reflection about what you're really feeling when you make money decisions. Here's your simple 3-part plan to start right now. First, track your emotions for 1 week before any spending decision. Second, pause before making any purchase over $20 and ask yourself what emotion you're feeling. Are you buying this because you need it, or because you're trying to feel better about something else? Third, redirect that emotional energy into a quick saving habit or mini investment instead. You're not broken or bad with money. You're human, and now you have the tools to make your emotions work for your financial future instead of against it. If this helped you see your money patterns differently, hit that like button and subscribe for more no-nonsense finance insights. Share one emotion you caught yourself in this week in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable.